And at this moment, we have with us Assistant Professor Van Ybiernas of the De La Salle University's Department of History. Welcome to the program, Van.
Maraming salamat po. Good morning to those who are tuned in.
Sir, you're from the Department of History.
Yes,
So it just makes me think, historically and statistically speaking, do admin bets always have the advantage?
Usually po. Usually. Except nung presidency ni President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo when she was very unpopular president. But in general, advantage parati yung administration party during the midterm elections.
Now, there have been a lot of reports of vote buying ever since, even before the elections actually started, right? Especially the night before. Why do you think people still practice this? Because we've even heard some people saying, okay, you can actually take the money, but you still vote for whoever you want to vote for. Why do candidates still do it?
Well, ang candidates do it kasi gusto nilang manalo, no? The candidates want to win.
Gumagana pa po ba?
They think so, no? They think so kasi hindi naman po ako, I don't have a political background. I'm just a student of politics and history. Pero, I mean, I would imagine that as a candidate, you want to get any kind of advantage that you can get over your opponent. No? And one of it is buying votes. Okay, so, but the more important question, I guess, is why do people sell their votes? No? I think the answer is also fairly obvious. No? Number one, I hope this doesn't sound stupid, pero syempre, people sell their votes because someone is buying.
Yeah.
Diba, no? Secondly, people sell their votes because usually kasi ang tina-target talaga for vote buying are yung mga I hate saying this word, but ang tina-target ay the poor, no? Who are more susceptible to selling their votes. Kasi syempre, ano din yan, pagkain din, alam mo yun, pang-ano din ang kalam ng sikmura. No? So, but in general, vote buying is not as prevalent doon sa middle class and obviously not doon sa upper classes. So I think ang solution sa problem ng vote buying is really eradicating poverty. Pag nawala ang poverty, people will stop selling their votes. No? Pwede kasi yan na sa sinasabi ng mga tao, police or enforcement of the laws. Pero I think if you observe yung mga elections, napaka-crafty ng mga politicians. They're crafty in the way they bribe or buy votes, no? So, for example, and it doesn't necessarily have to be na bigyan ka ng pera tapos iboto mo ako. Hindi na nga kailangan, it doesn't need to be said. Automatic na yon eh. So for example, may mga magbibigay ng sako ng bigas. Yes.
Right. Meron ng goods.
Magbibigay ng mga bigas, canned goods, tapos may sample ballot kasama yon. So, I mean, nobody needs to say anything. Understood na yon.
Oh, we've seen more like merong rubber shoes.
Yes.
Rubber shoes, really?
Yeah. You see that.
Yes.
And it's of good quality.
But
It's
the
really
question,
good
Van,
quality.
is this, no? I mean, man-to-man pa rin ba? Tao-tao pa rin ba ang bilihan ngayon? Because I have known of certain areas where there are so-called consolidators. You know, they're usually barangay captains or mayors.
Yeah.
They essentially tell, okay, you want to be on the top 6 of the Senate winners, then this is what it's going to cost you. In today's election, current, is it still man-to-man? Punta po kayo doon sa kubol, bibigyan kayo ng 200 pesos pag pinakita nyo yung bowler? Or is it, Mayor or Kapitan, bahala ka na, ito na ang 10 milyon?
Well, depende kasi yan, sir. Kasi ang segmented ng ano natin ang ating society or even yung political areas natin. So for example, iba ang style sa probinsya, 'di ba, no? Doon sa mga rural areas with smaller populations,
Right.
with fewer eyes watching them. Kasi halimbawa, nandun ka sa isang maliit na barangay. May mga barangays tayo na ang mga botante niyan, 100 lang, 40 lang yung mga voters. Walang mga pulis na nagbabantay dun sa mga yan. Walang everybody knows that vote buying is happening, di ba,
Right.
no? Tapos harap-harapan yan. Kasi, again, as I said, nobody's watching, di ba, no? Pero mas creative sa urban areas. Kasi sa urban areas, may mga cellphone cameras, may mga, alam mo yun, may mga undercover spies yung kalaban mo. Alam mo yun? So, they have to be more creative doon sa mga urban areas. So, it's really hard to say na merong isang style for or isang system for vote buying. Ang masasabi ko lang, napaka-ingenious at napaka-creative nung mga vote buying techniques na yan.
What about yung buwelta? Because I won't name names, no? But I know of 2 politicians who actually went out to buy votes
Yeah.
and they lost.
Yeah.
And what they did was they went back to the local leaders. One was a mayor.
Yeah.
And essentially, things got rough.
Yeah.
And I asked what happened. Eh, sir, hindi nanalo dun sa distrito. Di ginulpi nila yung tumanggap ng pera.
That happens. That happens. Okay. Siyempre kasi, ano yun tawag nito, panluloko yung nangyari doon. Di ba, no? So, may form of retribution talaga when that happens.
Yes.
It may not be, pwede, in your case, yung sinabi nga dito, immediate yung retribution, pero po pwedeng somewhere down the line, di ba, no? Pag kumandidato kang barangay captain, babanatan din kita. I mean, ano siya, it's difficult to say na ito lang ang nangyayari. Kasi in different parts of the country, iba-iba yung style, iba-iba yung techniques, iba-iba. Kasi it depends on yung temperament ng tao, depends on yung klaseng operator siya. No? Kasi may ibang mga politicians, talagang muscle ang puhunan. Yung iba naman, diskarte. No? So, may ano sila, I mean, it's really hard to generalize na there's just one single technique that they
Right.
use pagdating dito sa mga ganito.
Sir, earlier you mentioned that you're a student of politics.
Yeah.
So in the Philippine environment, in our scenario here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, are political dynasties generally a good thing or a bad thing?
Both yes and no. Kasi yan nga I went into a huge debate sometime back with political scientists. Kasi walang there is no causality. There is no causality between poor communities and political dynasties. Kasi punta ka sa Pilipinas, may mga poor communities, say towns, provinces, poor sila, tapos may political dynasty sila, no? But you go to the richest LGUs in the country, Makati,
Right.
Quezon City, no? Political dynasties din. So, walang causality, walang correlation.
Alright.
Kasi may mga good dynasties.
Yun, oo.
At saka may mga bad dynasties, no? At saka medyo mahirap na sabihin at patunayan na ang pinakamahirap talaga doon yung causality na tipong na yung province, city or town nagsasuffer because of the dynasties.
Van, what do you make of the turnout? San Juan, a dynasty was brought down.
Right.
Yes.
In Manila, they're forecasting that the dynasty there will be brought down. And in other places in the
Makati,
Philippines.
kakarinig ko lang kanina, sir. Di ba, matatalo si Vice President
Right,
Binay.
Binay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, paano mo anong basa mo dito? Ito ba, is this the Filipino finally speaking up against dynasties or is this a local matter?
Aalisin ko, sir, yung word na finally. Kasi ano talaga siya, this is not the first time that it has happened. Almost every election, may dynasty na bumabagsak. Always yan. Kasi ang nangyayari kasi dyan is the dynasty is only as good as their ability to deliver yung services that people want from them. So, kapag hindi na nila kayang i-deliver yung services na yun, boboto yung mga tao doon sa kalaban. Now, ang problem natin kasi is once a newbie defeats the dynasty, ang instinct naman ng newbie is to build their own dynasty. So, ang nangyayari talaga...
That of course is historical, right?
Historical.
Okay.
Historical yan. Ganun yung tendency eh. Kasi, flawed kasi yung ano natin eh. Our electoral system is flawed. No?
How so?
Ganito. Ang biggest problem that I see in our electoral system is ang dami nating binoboto. I mean, midterm elections. Pag sa probinsya ka, boboto ka ng governor, vice governor, yung mga sangguniang panlalawigan muna.
Right.
Sangguniang panlalawigan, 6 to 8, depende yan sa lugar. Mayor, vice mayor, sangguniang bayan, tapos congressman, party list, tas 12 senators.
Okay.
So pag binilang mo yan, more than 30 yan. More than 30 yan. So, what happens is that in the case, for example, nung yung positions na one-on-one yung laban, say for example, mayor, vice mayor, governor, vice governor, may accountability yun. If the governor performs, panalo siya. If the governor doesn't perform and strong yung challenger, tatalunin niya si governor. Yung accountability is a little bit more difficult doon sa may multiple winners for one position. Kasi, halimbawa, senators, 12 yan eh.
Oo.
Ang tendency ng mga tao is, meron silang solid 6 to 8 picks.
Correct.
Tapos, doon sa last remaining 4 to 6 slots,
Ano ang strategy, sir?
wala. Kung sino na lang ang maalala nila.
Bahala na si
Recall
Batman.
na lang.
Recall.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why yung mga politicians who have been around, no? Say for example, you look at Lito Lapid, people are asking, why the hell is Lito Lapid still winning? Now people forget that Lito Lapid before this election was a two-term senator. 12 years yan senator. Tapos before that, 3-term governor yan ng Pampanga. That's another 9 years. Tapos before that, nag-vice governor pa yan ng Pampanga. All the way back to the time of Governor Bren Giao. Tatay pa ni Yeng Giao yun. So, the guy has been in politics for 24 years.
Forever.
So, ibig sabihin, advantage na siya kagad kasi kilala siya ng tao kasi he's been there. Bong Revilla, same thing. 2-term senator yan, tapos nag-vice governor pa ng Cavite. Jinggoy Estrada, same thing. Bago mag-senator.
Let's
Yes.
hold that thought,
Right.
Van.
Yes, sir, sorry.
Kasi I'm going to ask you, what about the movie star factor?
Yun nga,
Okay,
sir.
Patricia,
Babalikan natin si Assistant Professor Ybiernas in a short while. But in the meantime, puntahan po muna natin. Let's go over to Shyla Francisco, who will give us a recap of the initial count on the senatorial.
And this is followed by 782 and the Amy Marcos with 9th, Bong Revilla 9th,
Professor Van Ybiernas. Professor, balikan po natin. Sir Cito was mentioning a very interesting point.
Yeah, because
the
you were-
recall, yung
yeah.
star
Yeah,
factor.
because Van, you're right to point out that like guys like Lito Lapid has said 24 years in public office, but he eventually burned out because he had been in public office for so long. And I'm not judging the guy, but I remember historically back then, people felt that he was an underperformer in the Senate. Plus, there were some controversies involving the wife. Now, his sudden, emergence and strong comeback, a lot of people are saying, hindi, kasi lumabas siya doon sa Provinciano or some other, telenovela. So, because a lot of people are saying, yung pala, that's the secret to a comeback. Lumabas ka sa isang telenovela.
Well, to be more accurate, hindi naman siya. His term ended. Naka two consecutive
Yeah,
terms
two-termer
siya
siya.
as senator. He did not run for another office in 2016.
Yeah.
No? So ngayon he did not run for another
to the question
office
about
in
star power.
2016.
Actually,
Yeah.
people
No?
like to think
So,
na
ngayon,
yun yung reason
Okay.
But Cesar Montano talo eh. Talo Cesar Montano at a time when Cesar Montano was one of the country's biggest movie stars. Now, pagdating pa din dito sa current elections na ito, no? Si Freddy Aguilar is ang advantage kasi ng mga celebrities at saka ng mga stars based on the surveys, no? Based on the surveys na kasi wala pa talagang updates doon
right.
sa ano. But based on the surveys, ang lumalabas, mataas yung awareness netong mga to. Ibig sabihin, people are aware, kilala nila itong mga artista at celebrities na ito. But that doesn't automatically translate to votes, no? So for example, may ilang mga artista na nananalo, but may mga artista din naman na natatalo. So it's difficult to use that as correlation doon sa na tipong pag-artista ka, mananalo ka.
Let me throw in another factor. Okay, you have a 24-year politician, and then he was in the telenovela.
Yes.
Plus, now the majority of the voters right now are from the D group, or the ones that you call the poor. So parang the perfect combination na papasok siya sa group of 6 or group of 12.
Hindi ko kasi alam, sir, if yung senatorial race, I'm not aware. Hindi ko alam kung nahahati nila yung voters based on
Profile.
Oo, profile. So, but ang when you look at yung yung latest na yung kanina pa na results, no? When you look at it, I think Lito Lapid is number 11 ba or
Number
10?
8 actually.
Number 8,
Oh,
facing
number
number
8.
8.
Yeah, number 8. But in surveys, as high as number 3 siya. So, ibig sabihin, hindi talaga actually, as of now, no, based on the numbers that we have, as of now, he's not really doing that well, no? Ang advantage na kasi with the other candidates, siya si Bong Revilla, JB Ejercito, Jingo Estrada, ang advantage kasi nila is that they've been in the limelight for a very long time.
Yeah.
So may name recall sila, no? Whereas, for example, and itong problema nung 8 diretso candidates aside from Mar Rojas and Bam Aquino, ang problema nila, very low yung awareness level nila. So, I think some of them nasa 30% lang yata nakakakilala sa kanila.
Because primarily they are last-minute candidates.
Yes, no? So, ano tawag nito? Yun yung reasons. Pero you don't really see as of now, you don't really see I may be proven wrong later. But right now, you don't really see Lito Lapid and even Bong Revilla in the top echelons of the race. So ibig sabihin parang afterthought sila.
Yes.
They are afterthoughts. So I think it's credit to the voters. I think it's a credit to the voters na kaya lang kasi ang advantage, as I said nga, ang advantage pag kinumpara mo sila with the other candidates, talagang lower yung awareness level dun sa ibang candidates. Eh. So essentially, we're looking at mga 16 or 17 candidates lang talaga na vying for the 12 slots.
Yeah.
Yung the rest, parang saling pusa na lang yung mga
Right.
yon.
Professor, looking at the so far partial and unofficial natin na 12 senators na mukhang papasok, leading is Cynthia Villar.
Yes.
Number 2 is Senator Grace Poe.
Yes.
Bongo is at 3rd.
Yes.
And then Pia Cayetano is at 4th. Diba? 3 out of 4. Or lagyan na natin hanggang 5 with Chief Bato de la Rosa. 3 out of 5 kababaihan. What does that
Yes.
tell you?
Well, ang kultura naman kasi talaga ng Pilipino, equal lang Equal naman talaga ang babae at saka ang lalaki. Kasi for example, in English and in other European languages, may distinction sila between the male child and the female child, di ba? Yung isa son, yung isa daughter. Dito sa atin, parehas lang yan eh. Anak lang yan parehas eh. So, walang ano ang sa Filipino culture, there is no discrimination.
There is no gender bias.
No gender bias. Now, ang question na nandito, Cynthia Villar has been a long time congresswoman.
Yeah.
Tapos re-electionist senator siya. Grace Poe is a re-electionist senator. Pia Cayetano finished her 2 terms, tapos nag-1 term siya sa House. So, I mean, ano sila? They're not just women. They're not just women, but they are seasoned politicians, no? So hindi maski si Nancy Binay. Nancy Binay is a re-electionist senator. So they're not just women, but they're also seasoned politicians.
Right. Sir, since Risa brought up the topic of the about the partial count.
Yes.
So if you see it, which we saw earlier with Shyla, it's peppered with administration bets.
Yes.
Now you since you're from De La Salle, sir, you probably know you've talked to a lot of the youth, which accounts for about 31% of the voting public. Ano po yung pulso ng kabataan? Are they generally for the administration or generally for the opposition?
Actually, we don't know. We don't know. What we do know is among university students,
Okay.
the opposition candidates and even Nery Colmenares are doing well. Kaya lang kasi when you look at it, no, when you look at people aged 18 to 24, hindi ko sure, I'm not sure with the exact numbers. Pero if you look at eligible voters aged 18 to 24, ang university students baka less than 5% pa.
Okay.
So the university students do not comprise the so-called youth vote.
Yeah.
They're just a fraction.
Right.
A very, very small fraction.
Okay.
So, hindi pa ang mock elections kasi ay held in the universities. Nobody's really polling yung mga out of school youth, yung mga teenage workers,
Right.
yung mga teenage parents. Nobody's polling these people.
So we don't have a proper profile.
For a youth vote.
Okay.
So wala akong I have no idea what the youth vote is.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we'll have to leave it at that, Van, and thank you, De La Salle University Assistant Professor Van Ybiernas, for joining us tonight. Bilang Pilipino, we'll be right back.